皆さん、お稽古お疲れ様です and welcome back to Beyond Dojo. Guys, today is actually my second daughter, Nagi's birthday. Yay! And the reason why I'm talking about this is because that's the reason why I'm actually taking a day off from the training at the Kyoto Dojo. We are renting the studio, so if any of the members want to go to training and do some self-training on their own, that's totally fine, but that's the reason why I won't be available today. My daughter right now, she's at school, so we won't be able to celebrate all day long, but we'll be able to, have kind of like a small celebration at home. We are going to be doing something a little bit bigger on the weekends, but today is the actual day, so I wanted to be with her as much as possible. So that's the reason why we're having a day off. Thursday, I'm really looking forward to training. I am a dojo rat, if that's like the right way to express it. I love training. I would love to be at a dojo all day long if I could. So I'm really, really looking forward to Thursday. When we started the Kyoto Dojo, we only had trainings on Tuesdays, if you guys remember. Yeah, come to think of it, if I only had one day of training per week, I think I would have been dead by now because I couldn't probably wait for the next Tuesday. I'm so happy that we were able to start Thursday training too from this year. But speaking of training, the in-person training again. So since the last episode, I haven't been able to meet any of the members yet because today we don't have any training. But for the online lessons, the online Dawn promotion exam, as I've been talking about in the last episode too, there's only 2 more classes left before the exam. And from this exam, it's going to be the first time, but we'll be announcing the 5 designated kata that each examinee are going to be performing in front of Seki Sensei will be announced at the beginning of the month. So the exams are going to be held from March 13th to 16th, but the 5 kata, or depending on the rank, it's different, but second, third, fourth dons, they'll be required to do 5 katas, but those 5 katas have been decided. Yeah, so I actually already know the 5 katas that will be asked for the examinees to do on the day of the exam, but it's really, really exciting that we finally get to hold the 4th dan exam for the first time. And you guys know, yes, I will be challenging the 4th dan exam for the first time too. At the 2 weeks after, I think, everyone takes the exam. Unfortunately, on the day of the exam, I have to be in front of the computer to adjust everything to hold the exam itself, and the only timing I'm able to head over to the Hombu Dojo to take the exam will probably be a few weeks after that. But I'll be taking the exam in front of Seki Sensei though. As the online down promotion exam, but I'll be taking in front of Seki Sensei. Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to move up to the 4th dan, and as you guys know, the in-person exam too, I will be taking it in June, so I'll be able to hopefully move up to the 3rd dan in the Hombu dan ranking exams. As you guys know, I've talked about this before, but Asayama Ichiden-ryu Hyoho currently has 2 different ranking systems. One is we call Hombu, which is the in-person trainings exam, which mainly focuses on kenjutsu, a little bit of iaijutsu as well, whereas the online lessons, the other ranking system, is the online Dawn promotion exams. And the online lessons, unfortunately, most people can only train on their own. They don't have a training partner usually, so the exam are solely just EI techniques. So basically, the requirements in the online, for example, first dan is what you would be asked to do in the in-person first dan. So what you're asked to do in the second dan of the online is something that you would be asked to do in the 3rd dan in person. So basically, the EI part of the online lessons are much more difficult than the in-person training, but that means you don't have to, or you can't do the kenjutsu part. So that's how the system works. But I think I'm the only person that is doing both exam almost at the same pace. The students who are coming to Japan every year during the annual training camp season, and they do take the exam at that timing as well. But yeah, I think many of the members will be taking the 2nd dan exam, and I think the 1st dan exam this year. So I am just 1 year a little bit ahead of everyone else. But yeah, that's how the system works. Okay, but anyways, with that said, I think that's about the in-person lessons and online lessons. So today, I want to talk a little bit about what Seki Sensei shared with us the other day during the higher down rank class we call. This is also another type of online lessons that we hold. It's held Monday midnight to 1 a.m. in Japan time, and it's a class only for students who are higher than online third dan rank. Okay, so currently, I believe there are only about 10 or so members who are eligible for this class, and we're training in. Yeah, what I did was the other day when we did the higher down rank class, I actually counted the number of katas that we do in the higher down rank class, and we found out that we've already been taught 67 katas, and there's actually a lot more we'll probably be learning from here in the higher down rank class. So that's a lot of katas we have to do. Okay, and as you guys know, the regular EI class, so the ones that we hold, I hold, of course, the ones that Tsukara Sensei, Kurosawa Sensei holds, the one that Seki Sensei holds on Saturdays and Sundays from 10:30 p.m. Japan time. These classes are from no down rank, so 0 down rank to 3rd down rank members are able to take these classes. But in that class, we train in 33 EI kata and the basic EI exercises too. Well, there's 33 katas, so there's double the number of EI katas already just in the higher down rank class. So it's a lot of fun. Basically, almost every class is like learning a new technique. So, and they're all very difficult. What I love about the higher down rank class is that the techniques we practice in that class are techniques that wouldn't work if you don't fully understand the principles or the basic techniques, basic skills of Asayama Ichiden-ryu completely. If it's not grounded down in you, then you really can't do any of the techniques correctly, which is what I love about it. But anyways, so yeah, the other class, so a couple of days ago, when we were doing the higher down rank class, we learned a new kata, and this kata basically, make a long story short, this is a technique where there's an opponent sitting on your right side and you do a tsuka strike. So tsuka is the hilt and you're using the end of the tsuka. So with the long sword, we'll call it pommel, right? And then we call that the tsukagashira for the katana. So the end of the hilt is called the tsukagashira. Kashira means the head. So using that, you're striking the opponent's face with the tsukagashira. Then you draw your katana with one hand in kamidachibari. We call a vertical draw attack toward the opponent's head. And that's the end of the kata. Yeah, we were practicing this. Now, when we were practicing this for the first time, because we're attacking the opponent to the right, one of the basic principles, fundamental principles of Asayama Ichiden-ryu is that if you're going to be drawing or attacking to the right, you don't bring your right hand to the front. Yeah, you're facing forward. The opponent's facing forward too, and you're on the left. The opponent's on the right, and you're both facing forward, right? And you're going to be attacking the right from there, and the opponent's trying to face their left to attack you, right? In that kind of situation where you have to attack to the right, you do not bring your right hand to the tsukagashira while you're facing forward first, and then do it to the right. This is a basic principle that we always practice in an exercise, drawing exercise we call tsumemokuroku in Asayama Ichiden-ryu. If you've been following Beyond the Dojo and maybe watching some of my YouTube shorts, the clips of my online lessons, you might have heard of the name tsumemokuroku before, one of the exercises that we do. But we learned that the basics is to always bring your right hand naturally to the right and bring the tsuka, the hilt, to the right hand, so you don't have to bring your right hand forward and then to the right. That's completely unnecessary. That's unneeded movement, is what we always practice. But because this kata that we learned about a couple of days ago, 2 days ago, I believe, because it was of a new kata, many of the members, the members of the higher down rank class, they were bringing their right hand to the tsuka forward while they were facing forward still, and then they were doing the attack to the right. And then Seki Sensei explained that no, you don't do that. What have you been learning in the basics? You know, if your opponent is on the right, you attack to the right with bringing your right hand to the right immediately. Yeah, and I asked him that question: is that the right way to do it? And we found out it wasn't. So he explained it that way, and then he told us, "Oh no, you made me explain." Okay, now this is the main part of today's story. He said, "Uh-oh, you made me explain. Okay, you made me teach you." Yeah. And there's actually going to be a video on Lhasa Seki Sensei that's going to be coming out this weekend, I believe, but it's actually exactly the story. Now, nowadays, well, what should I say? I think I should explain the conclusion first. Conclusion, Budo cannot completely be explained with words or written explanations. But what's most important is your ability to feel and gain. Okay? To feel and gain is what's most important in Budo training, and we call that in Japanese kan-toku suru. Kan means to feel. Toku means to gain. This is the conclusion of today's story. Now, with that in mind, what Seki Sensei wanted to teach us was a lot of people who are training in Budo nowadays believe that Budo is another form of like a school system, if that makes it like a normal school system. So what many trainees believe is that because they are paying money to their senseis, they have the right to be taught and be explained as many times as they need to with words or maybe given a textbook or something. I still have a lot of people who message me asking me like, is there like a book or like a leaflet or whatever it is that explains the techniques of our style? Okay? And the answer is no, we don't. Okay, but we do have plenty of videos of our sensei, explaining and performing the techniques for us. So if you're serious about the training, please go and watch that first of all. But there are no books, and senseis are not there to go and teach you every single part of the techniques with words and explain you little by little, and all that kind of stuff. A Japanese traditional culture, not just Budo, not just a dojo, but for example, I train in tea ceremony and no theater and stuff like that too. It's not a school. Okay, there is no teacher and student, strictly speaking. So in Japanese, that will be like there is no sensei and seito. That's more like a school teacher and a school student kind of thing. It's really difficult because when you translate these words into English, sometimes you could say a deshi. Have you guys ever heard of the word shisho before? Shisho means master, and then their apprentices will be a deshi, So a sensei and seito, school teacher and a school student, okay? And a shisho or shihan or shisho or something, and a deshi, which would be more like an apprentice, These relationships are completely different. Okay? When you are starting to learn a Japanese traditional culture, you cannot expect your sensei to explain everything to you. And what Sensei said is, if you're making your sensei explain everything to you, you should feel that as an embarrassment. Because, let's get back to the conclusion of today's story, because the most important ability of each apprentice, each deshi, we say in Japanese deshi, apprentice, is the kan-toku, okay? Is to feel and gain. Okay? Feel and earn, feel and gain is what kan-toku means. So you need to be able to see your sensei, feel your sensei, and try to learn from that. So, of course, Sensei, by the way, he explained this to us, but he's a very, very kind instructor, though. He does explain everything to us, and even this whole thing that happened in this class, he still explained everything to us, so we can all understand. He's a very, very kind sensei. But if you go back a little bit in time, for example, when my parents were, or maybe my grandparents were little, if you go to a shihan or a master, and you want to become an apprentice, you won't be taught anything. Especially this is true in the world of craftsmanship in Japan. Especially craftsmanship, craftsmen aren't really good at explaining things, we often say, because they are professionals of creating these forms of art and they don't like talking. Yeah, generally that's how it's explained. Okay, so they don't explain anything to you. Okay, in the time when violence between the masters and apprentice was normal, I don't know, like a couple of decades ago, the masters would not teach their apprentices anything. They would just keep on working, and what right the apprentices had was to be able to watch that. Okay? Your master is not going to explain anything to you. You have to be very serious, watch, feel, learn, gain, earn by having the privilege of watching your sensei, your master, do his work. Okay? And this was the same for all other forms of Japanese traditional culture too. Nowadays, we don't have that much time. Like in the past, people were able to use a lot more time. Like even let's say going back even more in time during, let's say, the samurai times and such, people were able to dedicate their whole life to just one form of art, right? So they had a lot more time. But nowadays, people, of course, we are working, we have other hobbies, let's say, and training in Japanese traditional culture for 99% of the people who are training Asayama Ichiden-ryu too is just a hobby, and it's just something that they do for fun. So because of that, Seki Sensei totally understands that, and in order to cope with, the change of, time, he does explain everything to us. He does make videos so we can rewatch anytime. Yeah. But there are students who expect him to still explain more, to still, give more, and not putting in the effort of trying to go and learn and watch all these videos, watch all of the past videos of our online lessons. Our online lessons, by the way, are all recorded. Okay, and the archives are free for you to watch if you are a member of the online lessons. That means that's a few hundred hours of material that you get to rewatch anytime you want to. And all of the posts, by the way, of each class explains what we practiced that day. So you don't have to go back and look at every single video saying that, okay, what did we do on this day? It's on the post. So you know what we did on that day. And if you could, let's say, it's an hour long the classes are. You could watch one class every day and be able to catch up to what we're doing right now. And that's possible if you put the effort into it. Okay? That's the kind of mindset, attitude that Dishi side, apprentice side needs to have. Okay? So I talked about this with you guys before, right? Kyogai Betsuden Furyumonji, or Reidanjichi, is what Seki Sensei explained to us before. Kyogai Betsuden Furyumonji is a concept from Zen Buddhism, saying that the most important core teachings of Zen Buddhism cannot be taught with words. That's the reason why you need to sit down and experience it. You need to sit down and meditate yourself. If you say with words that, oh, I reached enlightenment, no, you haven't reached enlightenment, because the true enlightenment cannot be explained with words. You have to sit down, and only the people who really have understood what that is, they look at each other and they nod. There are no words there. Okay? That's what Seki Sensei has always been talking about Budo training as well. So ultimately, when he received all the teachings from the 21st headmaster, the previous headmaster of Asayama Ichiden-ryu, he said that there were no words between the 21st and the 22nd headmaster. Okay? Between Osaki Sensei and Seki Sensei, there were no words. Whenever a technique works, Osaki Sensei would just say, see? Yeah, and Seki Sensei would say, yes. And everyone around them who were watching them training didn't understand anything. But they did. But it's not words. Okay? We need to always remember that that's the kind of mindset, attitude, I guess. I'm sorry for repeating myself, but when we train in Budo, we always have to remember that. Okay? Kan-toku suru. Okay? It's our responsibility to watch our senseis and learn. I think there are too many students. I'm an interpreter of Seki Sensei's online lessons, Scout Sensei Sensei's online lessons. I have my own online lessons too. I feel there are too many people who believe that, let's say, they take memos of Seki Sensei's teaching, which is a good thing. Of course, you need to remember what all the teachings were, so that is a good thing. But they believe that just by looking back at their notebook, they'll be able to do these techniques correctly. But that is not true. That's important too, but what's more important is for you to watch your sensei hundreds, thousands of times, and be able to replay his movements inside your head, be able to recreate his atmosphere, the the timing, the rhythm of his techniques. That's much more important. Okay, there are things that you can only understand once you do that much, and once you try to aim for that, not just, okay, right here, right foot forward, the katana is drawn out at a 45-degree angle. No. Techniques can't be fully understood like that, especially for forms of art, like Budo, or actual craftsmanship too, right? Just because you follow the steps. If that was true, let's say that this was, cooking, let's say. If you could just follow every single step, okay, salt something gram, pepper something gram, I don't know, or stuff like that, then everyone could be a top chef, right? But that's not true. Yeah, there's something special about these top chefs that they do that makes it different from people who just read off a book, right? That's something that we need to understand when we train in Budo too. So what I always do is I always watch Seki Sensei's videos where he performs the kenjutsu kata for the third dan exam that I'm going to be taking. Yeah, all of the archive videos that we have every week, I rewatch them. Yeah, I always want to check if my translation was good or not. I was like, oh, I probably did not explain this enough. I should share this link with the other members just so they understand what he was saying in this scene. Or I take memos actually of all the teachings, and whenever I have a chance, I want to make a separate post, maybe even making a clip from the class and add exclamations and stuff like that. That's what I always try to do. So in the past, in the world of Japanese culture, you weren't even allowed to take any memos. For my tea ceremony sensei, she's actually very strict, so she doesn't allow taking any memos in the training area. If she catches me taking a memo, bringing out a piece of pen or paper, so she will be very angry. That's not the right attitude to train in Japanese culture. Okay? And I believe that's really similar to the concept of what Seki Sensei explained to us the other day. Kan-toku. Okay? We need to be able to feel and gain and earn from the sensei's demonstrations. Okay? So not just the words. Words are also important too. Of course, he was able to explain this to us through words. Yeah. But we need to remember that more than half of the important teachings cannot be taught with words. So we need to watch him. Watch carefully. Seriously watch him. There are always students who are, when Seki Sensei is doing the demonstrations, they're already doing the training, and when he starts explaining with words, they finally come over to the screen and start listening. No. Of course you need to listen when he's talking to you, but you need to be burning his movements into your eyes, onto your brain. That's much more important, yeah, than just his words. Okay? So this is another teaching from Seki Sensei, just recently taught to us, and I thought it's really important that I share with you guys too. If you have been taught something similar, or if you felt something similar too through your training in Budo, it'd be great if you can share experiences in the comments. I would love to learn from you guys too. Okay? Alright, thank you so much for your time. Then I will head over to go and pick up my birthday girl. Okay? Bye guys.